Netflix just released a brand new behind-the-scenes showcase video for its live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And since there's so much to cover in this video, we will be getting right into its breakdown, as this is one of, if not the biggest reveal that we've gotten of this series so far, and we will be doing our best to cover everything that was shown in this video. As the video begins, we hear Gordon Cormier, who plays Aang, saying, "I don't know where this will all lead. But the one thing I do know is, I'm the Avatar." As these words are being said, we get to see some behind-the-scenes clips of Aang after he is freed from the iceberg. After this, we get some other scenes that we've already seen from the trailer, followed by the title card of the show, with some text below it that says, "Bringing the world to life." The first person that we see after this title card is the executive producer and showrunner, Albert Kim. He goes on to explain that the story of Avatar is an epic fantasy set in a world inspired by Asian folklore and legends, and that the people can manipulate the 4 classic elements in a process called bending. Right after he says these words, we see new footage of what seems to be an Earth Kingdom soldier, earth bending. So far, this is the best scene where we can truly appreciate earth bending itself, as we can see it with a clear image. And in our opinion, it looks fantastic. Next comes Dallas Liu, who plays Prince Zuko, and he explains that there are 4 nations: the Air Nomads, the Fire Nation, the Earth Kingdom, and the Water Tribe. While we hear these words, we see images of Aang, Katara, and Sokka in the Southern Air Temple, 100 years after the attack, a wide shot of the Fire Nation and the city of Omashu, and a look at the Southern Water Tribe. We then get to see Kiawentiyo, who plays Katara in this live-action adaptation, and she says, "The 4 nations used to live in harmony, but everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked." Who knew that those words would actually give us chills, just as it hits us hard in our nostalgia? We're so happy that we got to hear these words. This is because it's Katara's classic monologue from the intro of the original series. Almost every episode, except the first episode, had this monologue, as it was part of the intro, and hopefully in Netflix's adaptation, we get to see this as well. Now, this upcoming scene is something that we've all been waiting for. We finally get to hear Daniel Day Kim's Fire Lord Ozai. He says, "Have I not led us to the brink of bringing the entire world under one rule? Our rule." I think we can all agree that Netflix didn't disappoint so far with this character, especially the casting choice for this character. We get a couple of other shots of action sequences, but then we get a new reveal around the character Jet, who we've seen before, but we actually get to see more of him here. In this scene, he is talking to Katara, who tells him innocent people are going to die. And this leads him to respond with, "That's what it means to fight a war." His response is something that we would expect from this character, as we know from the original animated series that he is one to really hold up to these ideals. So, from the looks of it, they will make Jet the bad guy when it comes to situations that he's involved in. Like when he tries to destroy an entire village because it has Fire Nation soldiers living there, and if it wasn't for Sokka, who managed to rescue them, they would all be doomed. Afterwards, we get another shot of Kiawentiyo, who says, "And the only person that could stop them is the Avatar." We get to see more footage of what can be considered the Kyoshi arc, as it's based around Kyoshi Island and the Kyoshi warriors. In this, we can see a new shot of Yukari, who is both the fierce and protective mayor of Kyoshi Island and Suki's mother, and this is actually one of the major changes that the producers did in the live-action adaptation, since this character didn't even exist in the original series. In this shot, we see Yukari exclaiming, "Where is the Avatar?" Following the Kyoshi scenes, we hear Ian Ousley, who plays Sokka, saying, "The Avatar. If you've seen him around, he's the little bald kid with the arrow." After this, we see Gordon Cormier saying, "That's me." He continues with, "The one person who can master all 4 elements." Interesting enough, it transitions to Albert Kim, who says, "And it's his responsibility to stop the Fire Nation from conquering the world." During this dialogue, all we see is images from the trailer and teaser trailer, so nothing new. except for this interesting scene of Aang dropping down from the sky in Kyoshi Island coming out of the Avatar state. Kiawentiyo then mentions that because of everything that the world has gone through, Aang is just a beacon of hope, and that if the world is going to have any chance, it's going to need Aang. As we hear this, we see a slightly longer shot of Aang in the burnt forest, and a shot of him lifting up a spoon with his air, bending trying to impress the kids in the village of Kyoshi Island. If you thought that we wouldn't see anything else from Fire Lord Ozai himself, buckle up, since we also get Daniel Day, Kim dressed as Fire Lord Ozai, and he mentions that the cast looks like you pulled them straight out of the original. And we totally agree with those words, no doubt about it. Gordon comes back on screen, and he is talking about how Aang is a fun-loving 12-year-old who has a responsibility that he doesn't really want. And we see a few new shots of him playing with Katara. He then questions how he is supposed to save the world and figure out how to do that, while we see a shot of Katara and Aang in front of Avatar Kyoshi's statue, and then we hear Katara telling him to imagine what will happen if he doesn't even try. Kiawentiyo comes back on screen and introduces herself as Katara. She describes Katara as a beginner waterbender, and she will fight to the ends of the earth for the people that she cares about, which is one of Katara's most important character traits. After this, we see a brief shot of Katara and Sokka talking, and she is saying that they have a duty, and it's to protect Aang. It then cuts into Ian Owsley, who jokingly introduces himself as the character Gran Gran, and then fixes it by saying that he will be playing Sokka. He mentions how Sokka was given a responsibility by his father to protect his village, and that he learns that you don't have to be a warrior to be a hero. This is very important, especially when it comes to Sokka's character development, as he eventually does meet up with his father in later seasons and makes him proud by showing that he is that warrior that his father could trust him to be. Something that we also hope to see in this adaptation. We then get a behind-the-scenes look of Prince Zuko as he arrived to the Southern Water Tribe, and he says, "I am Prince Zuko. I'll burn this place to the ground." The images then change to the iconic scene of Zuko seeing the beam of light that Aang releases into the sky after being released from the iceberg. As these images are shown, we hear Dallas Liu introducing himself as Zuko. Dallas mentions that Zuko is in search for the Avatar, and we get a scene that wasn't actually in the original animated series. In this scene, Zuko interacts directly with Aang, telling him that he is an enemy of the Fire Nation. Dallas continues by saying that Zuko is just fighting for his father's attention and approval, but that his uncle is the only person that stuck by his side. And we have a new look at Uncle Iroh and Zuko in strange clothing. We say it's strange because they are usually in Fire Nation attire, but this one doesn't look like it. But we think this is actually related to the scene where Zuko tells Aang that he is an enemy of the Fire Nation. These words are followed by Paul Sun Hyung Lee introducing himself as Uncle Iroh. He explains that Iroh is a very complex character and that he treats Zuko as his son. We then finally get a new scene related to this character where he asks Zuko, "Have you got a plan yet?" To which Zuko responds with, "The plan is to go in and capture the Avatar once and for all." Iroh follows with, "So no plan," and Zuko responds with, "I'm working on it, Uncle." So, by the dialogue we know that they've been hunting down the Avatar for a while, so we can speculate that this scene is maybe when Zuko joins the pirates to try and capture Aang. The next scene is of an air nomad, while the Southern Air Temple is being attacked. At first glance, we all thought that they revealed Avatar Yang Chen, but this is less than likely, and it may just be a random air nomad. We hear Daniel Day Kim as he expresses that having a predominantly Asian group of people, both in front of and behind the camera, is significant. Paul continues by saying that for the longest time, as an actor of color, you don't get opportunities to play in these kinds of franchises. He also adds that we have no idea how important that is and how many more voices people will find because of this. Overall, they all seemed happy because of this. Jabba Raisani, who is the executive producer and director of the show, comes in to talk about how he hopes that this is the live-action adaptation that they've always wanted to make, and that people will love, and we see some more shots of Aang and Teo flying through Omashu. Things don't end there, since we get another new shot of Aang yelling "Yip Yip" to Appa, and another behind-the-scenes look at Katara, Sokka, and the Mechanist. We have Ian saying that shooting the show is one of the most memorable experiences of their life, and then we get another new extended look at Sokka and Suki's scene, where Suki is telling Sokka that it's not the power inside, and what matters is the heart. In this scene, we see that Sokka is getting dressed up in a Kyoshi warrior outfit to fight the Fire Nation. This scene is followed by Elizabeth Yu showing up on screen, and we have another behind-the-scenes look at her training to bend lightning. Afterwards, we get to see even more behind-the-scenes footage of the cast laughing, having fun, and doing some fight scenes. To end things off, we have Albert Kim, who says that there's a whole new generation of fans waiting to be introduced to this incredible world. And hopefully, that's the case with this live-action adaptation. Tell us, what's your opinion on this? Did we miss anything? Thanks for watching the video. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this.